What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. For like the third time in a week, we got another finale, this time for our boy Super Buu. So last time we saw how different the future Trunks arc was. It was pretty much unrecognizable, and it seemed like Zamasu and Buu Black were unstoppable. However, Buu and his group found a way to actually stop him, using some very unconventional methods. But now they're left with a Fat Buu and Zamasu, who's still immortal. They need to figure out something to do with both of them. Like we do with every video, let's set a like goal of 3,500 likes for this part. Maybe we can continue into GT. So if you'd like that, be sure to drop a like. Anyways, let's pick up from here and finish this scenario. Buu arrives in the past with Fat Buu and Zamasu. The first thing he needs to do is find a way to get rid of Zamasu. Immediately he travels to the sacred world of Kai's. And without any better ideas, he decides to just turn Zamasu into candy, then generating a block of Kachin around him. He gives it to Shin, who just doesn't know what's going on at all. But Buu explains everything. Shin just needs to find a way to get rid of Zamasu and seal him for good. But there's still the issue of Buu. While Fat Buu may not be as bad as Kid Buu or Super Buu, he still may be a threat to keep around. Really all they want is the Kais inside him. Although they may have long since assimilated with Buu. But with some magic, and by actually going inside Buu, Super Buu may find a way to extract them, getting South Supreme Kai and the Grand Supreme Kai out of Fat Buu, eradicating Fat Buu immediately after. Of course they missed out on millions of years of the universe, and they're in the wrong timeline, and Buu tries to give them a quick rundown of everything. They're surprised to hear it all, but they'll be glad to fix Trunks' timeline. Oh yeah, Super Buu almost forgot. He then forcibly separates everyone from himself, freeing the 4 fighters inside of him. Everything went great, and now Trunks can go back to his timeline with 2 new Kais, who may actually take an interest in Trunks. The best part though is that the timeline is safe now. No Zamasu, no Buu Black, nothing. And with that, we conclude this arc. Next we're going to be fast forwarding a bit. Since the Tournament of Power is going to come up eventually, Goku and Vegeta continue training with Beerus, as Gohan and Buu continue their training on Earth. Everyone's seen some great growth over this time period, which is good because then they get alerted about the tournament itself, thanks to Goku reminding Zeno to do it. Now they're tasked with creating a team of 10 fighters. With Buu's extensive knowledge of the universe, he has a pretty good idea. He wants to look around and see if he could find anyone else that could possibly join the tournament, besides just whoever's on Earth. That way they may be able to find some stronger people. He begins traveling the universe, looking for anyone that he could possibly recruit. The issue is, all the strong people are kinda hard to find. For example, the villains that he won't be able to meet like 7-3 or Moro, they're in prison, he's not gonna find them. And I'm also recording this the day after the Granola chapter came out, where he was introduced and he does seem pretty strong. But because Granola does seem like a space traveler, I feel like Buu would also have a hard time finding him too. But again, take that with a grain of salt, we know nothing about him yet. But during Buu's search, he does find one person who's stationary and strong. Surprisingly, on an uninhabited planet called Vampa. He senses some power from this planet, so as he travels through space, he decides to check this one out. He finds 2 people, an old man and his son, named Paragus and Broly. Surprisingly, it turns out these 2 are Saiyans. And that kinda does come off as concerning to Buu. He knows enough about the Saiyans by now, and they're usually not good people, although Broly does seem pretty nice. But Paragus does seem like a Saiyan that Vegeta would have described. And weirdly enough, it turns out Paragus does know Vegeta, and has a grudge against him. Buu automatically regrets bringing this up in conversation. He's already having a tough time as is. You know, if a random pink person shows up to your planet trying to recruit you for a tournament, it wouldn't really go over too well. It would be pretty hard to convince you. Well, Buu wants them to trust him, so he places a hand on Paragus as Broly gets ready to attack. But instead, Buu heals him, curing all his injuries, and now Paragus doesn't even have a limp anymore. They're amazed. Buu also says he'll promise to get them off this planet and find them a better home. But before he does that, he wants to figure out why Paragus has a grudge. Paragus confides within Buu and tells him. And Buu just straight up tells him that it's kinda stupid to think that. I mean, it wasn't Vegeta's fault that Broly got sent away. It was King Vegeta, and as far as Buu knows, Vegeta doesn't even care about King Vegeta, so why get mad at him? And plus, Buu tells him to consider what he's saying. He'll get them off this hellish planet. And even though Vegeta is on Earth as well, why get mad about that? This is a great deal for them. All they need to do is let Broly join the tournament. And Broly's willing to go. Begrudgingly, Paragus agrees, although Buu's gonna definitely keep an eye on him. Of course, everyone on Earth is surprised to find that there's another Saiyan in the universe. As they all meet Broly, something about him seems kinda off though, and Paragus goes into detail. Broly has a great reserve of power, although his anger is uncontrollable. When he gets angry, he gets a lot stronger, but the issue is trying to stop that anger. Buu promises to keep an eye on him during the tournament, making sure it all goes okay. Sadly, Buu couldn't find anyone else out in space. I mean, there are inhabited planets like Yardrat and Namek, but there weren't any power signatures that stood out to him. Broly was really the only one, and for this tournament, while strategy is important, they do need people who are strong enough to actually handle it. It's a shame he couldn't get one of those prisoners that he sends from the Galactic Patrol. He also did find some agent named Maris, and he tried to recruit him, but he got really nervous for some reason, being very hesitant about joining. Weird guy, he kinda looks like Whis for some reason. But that's besides the point. The team here is a bit different, most of the fighters remain the same, except Buu, Trunks, Goten, and Broly, who replace Frieza, 17, Tenshinhan, and Roshi. Not to say that 17 isn't a valuable asset, but there's just no reason to go out of their way to recruit him when they already have these strong fighters with them. Oh yeah, Broly's clothes seem pretty ratty, so Buu hits him with a clothes beam, stealing Piccolo's move. And before the tournament, Buu takes a precaution. He knows that he is a valuable asset for the team. And in a tournament setting, he can make the most of his powers. He takes a small piece of himself off and splits it up amongst the fighters. It's gross, but he tells them to keep it in their pockets or stick it to them somehow. That way, he can stay in longer, since everyone will be carrying around a piece of him. The tournament begins and Buu continues to do the same thing. Whenever he's injured, quote unquote, he spreads these small bits of him around the arena, planting himself everywhere. He's playing the long game. If his main body is ever knocked out, he'll blow up his main body and spread those bits back into the ring, meaning he can attack people and stay in the ring at the same time, rather than being knocked out. Right now he's basically testing the water, seeing how strong everyone is, and seeing where he'll be useful. Everyone else does their own thing. As for Broly, he does have some experience fighting, but here's his first real test of strength. He goes off kind of to a slow start until he faces Frost. Broly's able to contend with Frost pretty well, possibly even overpowering him greatly. Frost rubs him the wrong way. He's definitely not a good guy either. It's one thing if this was just some normal fighter from another universe, but he's clearly evil. Frost ends up going into his full power form, and begins annoying Broly with a barrage of lasers. He keeps spamming them everywhere. As Broly's hit over and over again by these attacks, he's not very injured by it at all, but he keeps getting hit by them because he can't react quick enough to dodge them, and he's basically trapped in a loop by this. It begins to get annoying, he just has to tank it, and he has no way of getting out of it besides brute strength. Broly roars as he attacks Frost. Beginning to get angry, Frost can't compete with his power at all, as Broly completely overwhelms him, getting angrier and angrier as he keeps attacking, knocking Frost out of the ring. And this is where people begin to see Broly's rage. He goes around attacking others, trying to finish off fighters as quickly as possible. He goes after other fighters from Universe 6 because that's where Frost was from, leading him to the Saiyans from Universe 6. The three Saiyans are pretty amazed to see his power. They know by now that Universe 7 has Saiyans, but they never expected to see someone like this. Also, he's kinda terrifying. Something about him isn't right. Of course, they're no real challenge for him. He defeats Kaba and Caulifla. But funny enough, Broly's rage inspires Kale's rage. In an effort to protect Caulifla, she transforms as well, going berserk as she fights Broly. Broly continues to grow angrier and angrier as he goes wrathful. And as you can imagine, this would be a pretty destructive fight. It's basically two Brolys fighting each other, and they keep getting stronger and stronger as the fight goes on. The two have no regard for their surroundings, and this kinda worries Buu. He knew this might have happened with Broly, but he didn't expect it so soon. However, someone else does step up to try and stop this, that being Jiren. He jumps in to stop them, and with one blast each, he knocks both of them out of the ring. Almost. Hit is able to catch Kale, but as Broly is launched out, Buu tethers onto him and pulls him in, saving Broly with that little piece that was attached to him. Broly's okay and he thanks Buu, but he's terrified about what just happened. Had Jiren not stepped in, he wouldn't have been able to control himself. That powerful attack briefly knocks his senses back into him. Gohan jumps in to see what happened, and begins to theorize. Broly has some great potential. He's already much stronger than before because Buu just healed him. The reason Gohan's interested is because he sees a lot of himself in Broly. Which is weird because Broly's not a hybrid like him. He has great potential and a short temper just like Gohan does. The difference is Broly doesn't have his power under control. But this experience definitely will help him. The tournament continues on. As for Buu, he'd probably want to use every power at his disposal. When you think about it, he'd be a pretty overpowered addition to the tournament, which is probably why they made Buu fall asleep in the first place in canon. One of the main things Buu contemplates here is absorbing Jiren. It wouldn't really count as killing Jiren, right? And it doesn't seem against the rules. The issue is if he absorbs someone, he won't be able to absorb anyone else because people will start to notice. Unless the power boost is massive enough to overpower everyone else there. And if he goes for Jiren right away, Jiren may actually be too strong for Buu to absorb. He confirms this by briefly sparring with the fighter from Universe 11, quickly realizing that he should fall back as Goku goes in to fight Jiren instead. It would be best not to try and absorb Jiren. Instead, he should aim for another fighter. Buu begins searching for a strong fighter and finds the perfect target. Maybe this will help him face Jiren and defeat him. Right now, Toppo is facing Gohan and Vegeta. And they're a pretty good match for him, giving Toppo a lot of trouble. But during their fight, they both see a piece of Buu slither up behind Toppo. They realize they need to keep Toppo distracted as Buu plans to absorb him. The piece slowly creeps up behind him, then grabbing onto Toppo's leg, alongside a bunch of other pieces. Before Toppo even knows what's happening, he's ambushed and surrounded, with Buu absorbing him. Of course, the gods of Universe 11 would contest this from the stands, saying that it's cheating. Belmont in particular thinks it's unfair. But Zeno thinks it's cool, and the Grand Priest says it's allowed because he didn't actually kill Toppo, he just absorbed him. And technically, this means Toppo isn't eliminated, he's still in the ring, just inside Buu though. But there's nothing he can do, this will be allowed and Buu continues to absorb him. Buu grows considerably stronger, and possibly a bit larger in size as well. As he absorbs Toppo, the colors of his outfit change to reflect that of Toppo's, as his gi turns red and dark gray. This is a lot of power to take in all at once, but he's able to handle it. Although there is one thing odd that he didn't notice before. Toppo wasn't just strong in terms of regular strength, he had something hidden within him. Buu tries to use this hidden power that he notices, generating a ki blast in front of Gohan and Vegeta, as it then turns purple and he launches it towards a rock nearby. Instead of exploding the rock, it completely disintegrates. Oh, Buu realizes what this is. This is the ki of a destroyer. It turns out Toppo is actually a candidate for God of Destruction, and now Buu has access to all that power. Buu tells Gohan he's going to try to absorb more people, but Gohan says that might not work. But Buu's pretty confident he can do it. Gohan asks Buu if he can even handle all that power. Buu doesn't even know himself. He's never absorbed that many people before, especially with that level of power. In the last arc, he knew what to expect. When he absorbed Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and Trunks, he knew all their powers, and they were willingly absorbed. But if Buu tries to absorb a bunch of people here, it may cause some issues. We'll see that later on. Right now, Jiren is fighting Goku, and that leads to the Spirit Bomb. This time around, the Spirit Bomb is way stronger, since the fighters are more powerful, and they have Toppo's energy as well, with Buu providing a continuous stream of his ki. Jiren actually has trouble pushing the Spirit Bomb back this time, and he has to use a lot more of his power, actually stressing himself a bit. He ends up pushing the bomb back though, causing Goku to fall in, miraculously surviving as he goes Ultra Instinct, but Jiren doesn't suppress anymore. Even with Ultra Instinct Omen, Goku only gets a brief advantage against Jiren, until Jiren completely whoops his ass and flings him out. But just like Broly, he had a piece of Buu attached to him, so Buu tethers him back in. Everyone is beginning to notice Buu now. Not only did he absorb Toppo, but he's able to save his allies from falling out of the ring. Eventually it happens with Goten and Trunks, but they get tethered back in by Buu too. Universe 7 still hasn't lost anyone because Buu makes sure that everyone stays in. He's just too strong here. And of course Universe 7 has advantage in numbers. Not to mention, Broly is slowly learning to control his power, while Goku gets healed after Ultra Instinct and gets a Zenkai, making him stronger too. The longer the tournament goes, the better Universe 7 gets. Buu then remembers he has a perfect technique to take out a bunch of fighters at once. The same attack that he used to destroy humanity. The thing is, he knows it won't work against Jiren, and maybe some other fighters will be able to avoid it. But maybe he can use it to help him absorb some fighters for himself. Buu lifts his hand up and charges a massive ki blast, launching it as it rains down around the ring. He does the same with his other hand, except instead of launching ki, he launches little bits of himself. Gohan asks what he's doing, but Buu tells him not to worry. This is the only way they can defeat Jiren. He's way too strong. And Gohan's getting more and more concerned by the minute. He's never seen Buu fight like this. I mean, it is a smart tactic, but if he absorbs so many people at once, what'll happen? Buu's attack knocks out a bunch of fodder fighters. But in terms of the strong fighters, he specifically launches the ki blast so they're launched towards him, absorbing all of their strengths. Universe 3 is completely wiped out because he can't absorb them. But he gathers some interesting fighters within him. Some Universe 2 fighters, some from Universe 9, including someone like Bergamo, who is able to stay in barely. Some fighters from Universe 10, some from Universe 4. Little by little his power is growing as he absorbs them. He seems okay, until he ends up absorbing Kale, who is still trying to recover from before. This gives Buu a massive boost in power, but something is wrong with him. Gohan sticks with him because he fights well with Buu and he knows him pretty well, and he watches this all happen. At first he's a bit optimistic, thinking that this may actually work, but Buu begins having too much fun. He tries to go around the ring absorbing some other fighters, some that he didn't knock out yet. Gohan's never seen Buu like this. He's acting menacing in a way. He doesn't know what the cause of this is, but he can only theorize that maybe it's because of all the people that he's taking on at once. All these personalities and powers within him, he can't control it. But the main factor is that he absorbed Kale, someone that already had uncontrollable rage, which only makes matters worse for him. Buu isn't strengthening himself, he's corrupting himself. He absorbs more people and begins growing in size, utilizing Bergamo's power where he grows when he gets attacked. The gods look in terror and disgust. Not only are they losing fighters, but they're losing to this menace. Those from Universe 7 fear that Buu may have gone back to his evil ways. As he's driven to the brink of insanity, Buu turns to Jiren, maniacally laughing as he begins fighting him. The thing is, he actually did increase his power pretty significantly here, enough to actually contend with Jiren even with his full power. Even Jiren himself is freaked out. This guy's kinda scary. He's become completely unhinged. As Buu fights Jiren, he asks for more people to come join and help him, trying to even forcibly absorb his teammates as well. This is bad. Shin theorizes that his old self is finally creeping back. They need to stop this or else Buu will probably be overtaken again by his evilness. The power and mixed personalities coursing within him are too much to handle. especially with that unbridled rage from Kale. Worried for his friend, Gohan actually steps up to help, but instead of helping, he actually fights against Buu, joining Jiren. Jiren looks surprised as Gohan yells for Buu to stop, fighting against his friend. Broly sees this and jumps in too, trying to get Buu to act normal and remember his good side. He barely knows Buu, but he knows that Buu is good at heart, and he wants him to stop this. As the only other remaining fighter from Universe 11, Dispo joins in too, fighting Buu. Buu's conflicted, there's so many voices in his head and this rage is uncontrollable. Others from Universe 7 step in to try and face him too, but this actually makes matters worse. Buu remembers that power that Goku showed off before, and decides Goku may help empower him more. He splits himself and begins attacking Goku. Much to the surprise of everyone else, Buu's gone completely rogue by this point. He's simply too strong for Goku, overwhelming the Saiyan, and Goku knows he can't get absorbed. He's driven to the brink of desperation, and out of necessity this activates Ultra Instinct. But it's too late. As I mentioned before, Buu spread himself around the arena, and all the pieces of him attack Goku at once. Goku's hit by a barrage of pieces from Buu as he's absorbed. Not only does Buu get way stronger from this, but he has access to Ultra Instinct Omen. He seems unstoppable. Buu tells Gohan and Broly to get out of the way and let him defeat Jiren, or he'll knock them out too. Gohan tries to talk to Buu and says this isn't right. The power is going to his head and corrupting him. His evil side is showing. Buu is simply too strong. He has Toppo's God powers. He absorbed Hit before getting his time powers. He has Kale's rage, Bergamo's power absorption, and Goku's Ultra Instinct, not to mention all the other abilities from every other fighter he's absorbed. This didn't happen before when they fought Zamasu. Buu had perfect control. It must have been because he absorbed people who were pure and were willing to be absorbed, people who he was familiar with. Here, he has many conflicting personalities, and there are people that didn't want to be absorbed, combined with the fact that he's accessing Kale's rage. All these people are resisting, and Buu is getting drunk on his power. Gohan has a plan. He needs help though, and Vegeta jumps in. One of the remaining fighters Universe 7. They can't fight Buu off, but Jiren says for them to go. Him, Dispo, and even Broly are going to distract Buu. Even though it'll be tough, this is bigger than a tournament and they need to stop him somehow. Gohan and Vegeta wish they knew fusion like Goten and Trunks. That would help, but they'll have to do this separate. Gohan's plan is to get in Buu somehow, without being absorbed fully. And this may be possible. In canon, Vegeta did this with his barrier, so Vegeta may be able to do the same because he is part Vegeta. And Gohan possibly could as well, since both of them have been absorbed by Buu before and could know how to counter it. They formulate this great plan and create a barrier, getting Buu's attention, asking for Buu to absorb them. He gladly does this without hesitation. Jiren thinks they're crazy, but this must be a part of their plan. The two are absorbed but not assimilated. Their plan worked. They go around Buu, trying to cut everyone out to free them. Hopefully this will turn him back to normal. First they get Goku, so Buu loses Ultra Instinct. Then they get hit, so he loses the time abilities. Then Kale, then Bergamo, then all the other fighters. On the outside, Jiren, Dispo, and Broly watch. Buu begins shaking rapidly as he grows larger and larger with each fighter in him. He's losing all control. Through gritted teeth, he grabs Jiren, Broly, and tries to grab Dispo. He's gonna absorb them too, taking them out with him. Jiren and Broly can't escape, as Buu then explodes, flinging all the fighters in him outside the ring, thankfully not injured. The entire ring crumbles around them. This includes Vegeta, Gohan, Broly, and Jiren, who are all eliminated, and it seems that every single fighter was knocked out. But that's not actually the case. Immediately the stands are filled with about 24 fighters, including a small piece of Buu that suddenly begins growing back. The ring is empty, except for one fighter, someone that was able to escape Buu's grasp. When Buu tried to grab everyone, Dispo was simply too fast, able to outrun the Majin and be the last survivor. So, oddly enough, Dispo's the MVP. Every universe is a race besides 11, and now Dispo has to choose his wish. He would have never expected this, and actually wonders what to wish for now. He's a warrior of justice though, so I doubt he'd make the selfish wish. As a Pride Trooper he aims to protect everyone, so why not wish to bring everyone back? Hopefully Zeno accepts this wish and doesn't erase him for being a smartass. But he breathes a sigh of relief as Zeno cheers this on. This is what he wanted. Dispo just saved the multiverse. Universe 7 is back and glad that it worked out, but Gohan and Shin notice that Buu is still just a small blob. They wonder what happened and if he's okay. From that small blob, he begins expanding and morphs into Buu once more, with his normal clothes, and he just looks confused, not remembering anything. That was too close for comfort. As they celebrate, Gohan tells him everything that happened, and Buu feels pretty remorseful about it. He thought it would work just like it did against Bumasu, but it didn't. Luckily though, everything goes okay. Obviously there's no Broly movie because Broly's already here and he's okay. He gets to chill on Earth with everyone else, and as for Moro, they have Buu there, and as we saw in the manga, Buu is able to face Moro without being affected by the magic. Here, Buu is way stronger, so Moro wouldn't be an issue at all. That arc is essentially negated as well. And because of that, Buu can just sit back now, relax, and enjoy some candy. He feels bad about terrifying everyone, but hey, it helped defeat Jiren like he wanted. He's just glad that Dispo made the right wish. Otherwise they would have all been screwed. So as he, Gohan, and his friends all enjoy some candy, this is where we'll end off this scenario. So, what did you guys think about this part? What do you think may happen next if this series continues into GT, or if it continues at all? Leave any thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. I'll be sure to check them out to see what you guys think. As always, if you liked the video, be sure to drop a like. And let's try to hit that like goal from the beginning of the video. If you haven't already, why not subscribe? As well as hitting the bell icon to get notified about any future uploads to this channel, including more videos like this one. Anyways, thank you all for watching, thanks for supporting this scenario, and I'll see you all in my next video.